last session when Mr. De Leon was here, I was talking, I gave the copy of the contract that Mr. Jim Walsh signed in 2013. It was a contract for court view. I tried to follow up with Mr. De Leon just to see if anything had happened. The response Mr. De Leon had for me is that the prosecutor's office rule is that only Mr. Hackman is allowed to talk to the press. So
No, only I am.
I beg your pardon, and I was misinformed. Thank you. But I was informed that it was Mr. Hackman, but now that we've got the big guy here, we'll...
Mr. Big.
So only Mr. Coulson. That's interesting. I don't want to put him on the spot. I'd be glad to meet with him, after the meeting.
I can address it right now.
Okay.
If you want me to. Yeah. To call this a contract is not accurate. Unfortunately, let me tell you what the part of the problem is. There's a law called the record retention law, and each department has to have amount of time that it has to retain public records. And then after that time is gone, then those records can be destroyed. Otherwise, we would have records everywhere. Unfortunately, this item that you're talking about is a item that was destroyed. All of the records for this purchase of the software and setting up this computer system. This was for the court and the clerk's office, I believe. And so the time is gone, the records are destroyed. So we can't go back and say, here's all of the records, all the contracts destroyed, everything. Someone found somewhere, and I assume in the clerk's office, but I don't really know, a piece of paper that's called a quote, not a contract, it's called a quote. It's a quote that Jim Walsh signed. So if the best answer to answer your question, because I can't give you an absolute, but the best answer is, yes, he had authority. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, it's not a contract. I don't think it was ever intended to be a contract. But it's clear, and we all know, and from our memories, that the judges and the clerk bought the software, bought the system. They got what they wanted. In fact, I think it was even built for them as part of it. They got exactly what they wanted. The county paid for it, and it was all done. So the question really is there any reason at all to suspect any wrongdoing because Jim Walsh signed this quote? And the answer is no. The county got what it paid for, got what it wanted, got what it asked for. The company got paid, and we don't have any records to show that anymore. And just having this simple quote really means nothing. Does that help?
Yes, a little bit, but again, the question that we had asked before was, at a $78,000 contract, should there have been a resolution prepared and signed by the commissioners?
We don't have the, I can't answer that because we don't have the records. But I think the judges, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
We had, court view was in place as early as 2005, I believe. And
Right.
then court view apparently offered to create the software for e-filing. Sole source, meaning an exception to 307.86 in the revised.
Well, that's why we're asking all the questions. We're trying to get records on this whole thing, and we found the record that there was an original resolution, and then there was a resolution rescinding that because Mr. Walsh said that things had changed, but there was no record of Mr. Walsh and/or the clerk at the time coming before the commissioners to say that we need approval from you to pay for that $78,000 contract. That's why we were asking.
Well, we can't even, yeah, I don't know that we can answer that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, appreciate it.
Well, while you're both standing there, so the county commissioners, all of our meeting minutes are memorialized in that time period. Are you saying that you found nothing in those records? Is that what you're saying?
Right, we didn't find a commissioner's resolution authorizing the $78,000. So that's why we said, well, it's a little strange.
It may have been in an appropriation section for finance.
But can't the judges spend the money on their own for the?
Yes, and there are issues with regard to the judges' state funding.
Right, so.
A question for the prosecutor. You're not aware of any time in your history that we didn't follow the normal procurement policies and procedures?
I'm not aware of it.
No, okay, that's good. And as far as, you say destruction of records, really disposal of records is part of that same policy and law, correct? I think the answer is yes. Yes, okay. But that's for Brian's information.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Coulson.